Honey, what are you thinking?
Is somebody out there? Can you hear me? Or am I talking to myself? No, that's just a Simple Plan, the rock band. Yeah, I just remember those lyrics. I used to love the song. I wouldn't sing it right now, probably not. Maybe next time. I might sing it next time. But today, we're back on the podcast. Welcome to Questions Ladies Wanna Ask. And I'm your host, Jobs. Jobs, like Steve Jobs, but just Jobs. Yeah, either way works, but no Steve Jobs. Jobs is just perfect. Let's keep it at the Jobs. And as usual, we have a new topic, or we have a different topic. Same thing, new topic, different topic. They're always new, they're always different. Sometimes it might be a little bit related to each other, but not quite. We haven't reached that level yet. Maybe after a couple of 100 episodes, yeah, they might be a little bit related, but they'll always be different. Because we're always addressing something different, something that the ladies want to know, and something they've asked. Yeah, and today I found this question like it was a little bit somebody really wanted to know. Rather than I wanted to skip it and finish the other one first, but it kind of seemed a little bit urgent, so I might as well address it first. And it goes something like this. Why am I being ignored by my boyfriend? Or let me say it one more time. Maybe one last time. No, it's never one last time. You never say never. So why am I being ignored by my boyfriend or by my better half? It doesn't have to be the boyfriend, could be the spouse. Yeah, something like that. Or to put it differently, is why is he ignoring me? It's not why is she, because I'm the guy here, I'm the man, so I'm answering the questions that ladies ask. So it's why is he ignoring me? Ignore. It doesn't feel that good to be ignored, right? Yeah, I know we dealt with that before when we were younger, and it wasn't always the best feeling. So it kind of hurts, even though we are adults. It's kind of the same feeling, and it might seem, it might seem and feel immature. But men ignore their girlfriends for various reasons. Sometimes it's all him. Maybe he just doesn't know a better way to deal with the issues. Maybe he's going through something difficult, a hard time, and he just needs some time to figure out by himself. He might be a little bit overwhelmed. Maybe he's handling a lot of stuff. So until he can break it down, until he can figure it out, until he feels like he can share it with you, it might take a while, right? Or maybe something happened between the two of you. You can't count that out. Maybe something happened and he's not happy about it. Something between you two, and it's kind of not pleasing and he doesn't like it. So that's why he's acting all weird, all quiet. Yeah. So let's get over the one that might revolve around you first. We can deal with that first. If maybe it has something to do with you, because there are several instances. Maybe you had a fight, disagreement, or a less than pleasant occurrence, and he just needs some time to cool off, to blow off some of that steam. Yeah, and he doesn't want to engage you at the moment. So sometimes we just do that, like to avoid further escalating the situation, especially since both of us, we are probably pissed off at that moment at each other. So some guys just want to take the time to avoid saying something they might not mean, like something they might regret later. Because when guys are pissed, they might just run. We might just run our mouths and all that. So he's just choosing the high road until he feels a little better to approach the subject or the situation and hopefully find a middle ground. But in the meantime, you can kind of understand where he's coming from. Maybe he just needs a little bit of time to figure it out, to boil down the issue before he approaches it and before he puts it on the table for both of you to figure out what's going on. But that was just in case it has something to do with you. Other times, and usually it happens, it probably has nothing to do with you. He did nothing wrong, that's what I'm saying. So remember, there are other aspects to his life, including work, school, family, friends. So if by ignore you mean he's not just paying attention, like he's not paying much attention to you, as he always does, he just might be going through something tough. Like maybe he's having a rough time, and it will probably clear up in a while. Every once in a while, we have something going on, but actually, although we might have something happening, that's normal to everyone, right? It happens to everybody, but it might be that he just doesn't feel the need to stress you out. It's probably nothing. It might be taking a little bit of his peace away, but he doesn't feel like he should put it on you, because maybe it's not such a big deal, especially since it's probably something that he can totally like handle. So he's like, he doesn't need to trouble you. He can handle it. It will just take a little bit of time, but he'll take care of it. However, it doesn't take away from the anxiety. I know I just said he can probably handle it, but it doesn't mean it's not like stressing him out. He knows it might take a little bit longer to deal with it, but at the moment, it's obviously causing him anxiety. Yeah. So he might end up acting a little bit weird, like he might not communicate as much as he always does. He might be a little bit off. And that's just because like he doesn't want to say what it is, right? At the moment, he's not ready to say what it is. And also, he might not want to get your hopes up. Maybe he's working on something, and just in case it doesn't work out, he doesn't want to raise your hopes like, oh man, I'm working on this thing. If it works out, it will be this awesome. If it doesn't, though, so instead of just putting you out there and kind of, if things don't work out, he doesn't want to like disappoint you. So he just wants to do it himself. And of course, that's the reason it's causing him anxiety, because it's probably something he's really hoping it works out. And if it doesn't, he'll not have your heart broken. He'll be the only one to deal with it and obviously move on. So basically, he's sparing you the heartbreak and the heartache. He's doing something good, just that his way of doing it, it's not the best approach. So what do you do, right? What do you do? Because it doesn't feel good, and you want to help out. You want to see how you can be of assistance. All right, how do we handle that? We might not always like want to speak out, but communication is always helpful. It's very effective. As much as we try to put it off once in a while, but as a lady, just try and see whether you can approach the subject in a different way. Not just like, what's going on, or you acting weird, like, are you alright, and something like that. You can obviously give him a little bit of time, but if it takes a little too long, it might be about time to say, hey, what's going on? Like, it doesn't matter what's happening, you can always share with me. Like, put it out there so that he knows he can approach the situation. And if he still doesn't feel comfortable enough to talk about it, no problem. Just give him a little bit of more time and see how it goes. I hope I'm making sense, right? I hope I am. So if it doesn't work out, great, no problem. By not working out, I mean if whatever he's doing doesn't work out, and hopefully it's not like a project that takes years, because you can't stay for like years or even months, even weeks, like he's not talking. Most of us just takes maybe a few days, and it gets easier because we keep opening up and all that, and yeah. So I don't expect it to take so long, not really. So and most guys usually give the lady some clues that it has something to do with work, or he's taking it has something to do with probably the work, the job, and it's taking a lot of my peace of mind. So so that at least she's in the clear. She knows what's happening, or she has a vague idea that it has nothing to do with her. Because we also don't want to give you the impression that it has something to do with you, just so that you don't go overthinking and thinking maybe you messed up somewhere or it has something to do with you. No. Sometimes we leave a few clues, and sometimes you can always ask, is it about me? To which he'll quite frankly just tell you, no, it has nothing to do with you. It's just something I need to take care of. Remember, just stay true to who you are. That means I'm trying to say you should just be calm, peaceful, and basically positive. He'll sense a lot of that positivity, and it will help him deal with whatever he is going through a little bit faster. Or at the very least, it will help him like crawl out of his shell. The little shell he's trying to hide in and to like push the world out, including you. Yeah. The more positive you are, the more he feels it, and the more he's willing to open up and let you know what's going on. Like, let's say if he's going through something stressful, I realize that he feels like he's in this kind of dark space with no solution whatsoever. So you being positive is probably one of the best things that can happen to him. Like, you will be the only light he can see, and will therefore have an easier time dealing with whatever he's going through, which means faster time out of the situation and probably moving back into the normal relationship like much quicker, just because you were positive and you stayed positive through the whole situation. And once he's back to normal, after he feels better, after he's dealt with it, talk to him about it and let him know, like, hey, it just didn't feel great, it didn't feel right, it felt wrong for him to kind of cast you out of like to cast you out. Yeah, just let him know it didn't feel that great, and that you'd appreciate it if he dealt with whatever happens in the future in a different way. Like, it's better to, like, it didn't feel good being not able to approach you, not able to communicate. Yeah, so that he also learns. Remember, most guys are usually clueless, and they might not have the best social skills or even good skills in relationships. I think both of us, the lady and the dudes, we're always learning. So remember, relationships, it's a learning process. Don't feel like, why should I have to teach him? Why should I have to be doing this at this time and age? He should know. No, it doesn't always work like that. So the more he learns, the better the relationship gets, the sweeter. Like, you'll have less to deal with. Imagine it's like just opening a door or cracking cracking a wall in a dark room, and all of a sudden this beautiful bright light, the sunshine just comes and fills the whole place up. So it's better than being in a dark, lonely space. By you helping him out of it, you're helping yourself and you're helping the relationship, because he's learning what works and what doesn't work. Basically, he's seeing things from your perspective, which is the best thing you can do. He might be seeing things from his perspective, like, oh, you don't know what I was going through. But once you let him know, but this is how I felt, this is how it feels from my shoes, from my side, you've pretty much opened up. And it's a much better approach than just closing up and saying no. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, it's a much better way to do it. Much more fruitful. Communication, best way to handle it. So, and quite frankly, any sensible, any good man will realize, like, his actions hurt you, which is not what he wanted, and he'll have to find a better way of dealing with whatever he was going through. We learn. We always catch up. We realize the approach we thought was good, it probably wasn't. Like, after you mentioned, it wasn't the best approach. And so realizing that it hurt you instead of helping you, we'll obviously come up with a better solution for it. So relax, feel good about it. It's over, and you did your best, and a positive solution. All right, let's move on. Question is, why am I being ignored by my better half? Let's look at it this way. It might be, or just think about it this way. This is a question. Are you suffocating him? Does he feel suffocated, like he's not having enough space for himself or with his family or with his friends? Is he feeling overwhelmed in the relationship? Yeah, those are factors that could lead to him feeling or ignoring you because he's trying to create some space for himself. Does he have time for himself? Does he? Does he? Does he? Is it that you're always trying to do everything together? Huh? Such that he feels like, or not just feeling, or he never actually gets time for himself. Like with others, maybe he never gets time with others apart from just the two of you. Yeah, that might be. I mean, we love a level of freedom and independence, and I'm myself personally, and other like-minded citizens and other like-minded male specimens or male citizens, we'd not want a girlfriend who's clingy or needy. No, I might have mentioned that before, but that's just how it is. It's okay to like want to be with me all the time, no problem. I also want to spend time with you and all that. But it's not okay if I never get some time of my own. Same thing with him. It's not okay if he feels or he never gets time for himself. I know I love my girlfriend, but I definitely want some time to myself. And especially with my friends or with other people, maybe colleagues or something like that. Not necessarily colleagues, but because we're probably hanging out at work, but usually with friends, like our time to relax, talk, chat. Same thing we have with your girls. Yeah, or if you are more into male friends, same thing. If you hang out with them, same thing. It's the same experience. So if she's trying to be clingy, or if she is clingy and all that, it might not be the best feeling for him. Yeah. But personally, I wouldn't react by ignoring her. I'd just let her know, like, hey, I'm having some alone time. And the only time I'd react differently is if she tried to push, like pushing her way, like forcing her way, like, no, we need time together. I don't care about that. No. Now that one, I really wouldn't allow that. Why? Because I know that I need that time by myself or with my friends. And I obviously give her that time. So, yeah, that's why you see some guys like turning off their phones or putting it on airplane mode for a while, something like that, because they just want that time. They just want that separate time for themselves. And yeah, I love that little bit of freedom, and I wouldn't allow like a girlfriend or a wife to do that, like to just take it away. No, because she gets to enjoy the same freedom. So why shouldn't I? It's natural to want to hang out with friends. And I'm not saying like I spend all the time with friends. No. Like we have our alone time. We go out, we hang out, we chill, watch movies and whatever. But there's friend time where I get to hang out with my friends. Yeah, same thing with her. I wouldn't try to occupy all her time and space, like be everywhere she is. Yeah, I want some alone time, and I want her to have some alone time too. Why? Because it's healthy for both of us. We're in a relationship, so it's really that much helpful for both of us. And we are built like to fight back against that sort of pressure. Naturally, we don't want somebody when it feels like somebody's trying to take away that private time, like like lack of independence. No. So just find a balance, get something to do in the meantime. If the problem is that you don't have anything to do, that's a little bit selfish. You can always find something else to do. Because we have time we spend together, no problem. But you can always find something else to do. Like when I'm hanging out with friends, yeah, find something else. Though once in a while, of course, you'll hang out with my friends too, but not all the time. Definitely not. So sometimes just for yourself. So do something for yourself too, so it doesn't feel like he has to be there 100% of the time. You'll love it. You'll enjoy it. Call your girls, call your guys, or do something you haven't done in a while, something you love, something you used to love. Yeah, it might change things a little bit. You'll actually feel happier and better because you also engage in doing something different and less friction between you and him. Because he'll feel respected that, yo, she realizes I need some time apart and I'm getting it, so no problem. Moving on. Should I remind you the question? I probably should. The question is, why am I being ignored by my boyfriend? You can say boyfriend or spouse or husband. Yeah, moving on. Think about it. Is he generally a busy guy? Is his schedule all over the place? Is it usually filled up? If that's the case, he might look for a way to vent out, right? He's just looking for a way to breathe. So, which might mean that sometimes he's away from you, even if it's hours. Yeah, because he's just trying to relax. Look at his schedule. If it's all busy, if it's all worked up and everything, he needs some time to let off some steam. I mentioned it before. Yeah, let me use the same word. Let me use the same phrase. So, best way to deal with a guy like this, a guy whose schedule is basically when he has his hands full. So, it's just to have your own hobbies and interests, like I mentioned. So, pursue them while he's doing his thing. Do something different as well, or do the same thing, just not with him. Because he's obviously looking for some time apart, or for a few hours, a couple of hours, maybe a week, to himself or with his friends. I mean, it shows him that you understand him better and work with who he is rather than trying to get him to do what you want all the time. It's respect. It shows, oh, I care about how he feels and I respect it. If you feel insecure about his whereabouts, let him know. So he finds a way to make you feel more secure. If it's insecurity, approach it, talk about it. Let him know this is my problem. It's not that I don't want to give you your freedom. No, it has nothing to do with that. I just feel insecure about who you're with, about what you might be doing. Maybe if it's an issue with trust, maybe something led you to not trust him that much. Let him know. Just talk about it. Best thing you can do. All right. I hope I got that straight. And what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so encourage him to communicate, or at the very least to fill you in on what's going on. Like, it doesn't hurt for him to call you a couple of times. He's out hanging out with friends, no problem. But he can always call you and let you know, hey, I'm safe, I'm here, I'm at this place, or I'm at that place. If he doesn't feel like he needs to say where he is, no problem. But just to let you know, everything is going all right, like he's safe. And if he's not feeling like saying who he's with, no problem. But it doesn't, for most of us, we don't have a problem saying like, hey, I'm hanging out with the guys, I'm hanging out with this guy, I'm hanging out with that guy. It's not really such a big problem. It's not an issue. Yeah. So instead of telling him how he's neglecting you, hopefully you're not like demanding all this time. So sit as a couple and make arrangements for the time you need to spend together. He'll be more than happy to factor in alone time. I know that. We love it. More than like the time we spend with our fellow guys, we'll be more than glad to factor in some time for both of us. It's just that we don't want our alone time to take over, like to be taken over by something else all the time. Yeah, we just want at least a few hours or a few minutes, maybe. No, minutes too little, so maybe a few hours. And it's not every single week. Once in a while. Yeah, maybe once in a blue moon. So no problem. And moving on to a slightly different point, blowing up his phone won't really help. Like, you'll just come off as immature and always like you're trying to push your way or force your will on him, and you don't want that. So if you just had like a fight or something similar, then you know he obviously needs some time to deal with his emotions. If nothing happened, give it some time and call him out. Just like I mentioned before, no adult is allowed to just veer off the trail. Like by veer off the trail, I mean like act so different from who they really are, or act so immature to the point of like you're like you're just like, what am I doing with them? What's going on? That should not really happen, right? I mean, he should, no matter what happens, there should be a level of maturity to this approach. I know when he's angry or upset, maybe after an argument, he might not necessarily be thinking in rational terms or logically, but with a few hours to himself or with a few minutes, he should be back to normal. Yeah, he should be back to normal. At which point you can talk, he'll talk to you, obviously, and you can get to the bottom of it. Yeah, and he'll need to explain. He'll need to explain like what happens, right? Yeah, like why did you just go silent after the argument? I know you needed to cool off, but it can't always be like that. Obviously, sometimes it depends on what happened, like what brought the issue. Why did he react like that? And I'm not saying it has anything to do with you. Sometimes it's not. But if it does, you need to realize you contributed to all of that. So remind him that you're a team and it hurts when he ignores you. Let him know it does more damage than good. He might be thinking, I'm avoiding a fight, I'm avoiding something worse. No, just let him know it felt worse. You might think you were helping or you were salvaging the situation, but you were not. I didn't feel good about it. Otherwise, like going through life with a man acting in such a way without any explanation is just not worth it. What do I mean? If he does that without a reason and it goes on for hours and days, no. That would be categorized as manipulation, like almost like having a dark cloud all over your head all the time. You're just hoping that a new day like is coming without those dark clouds and without such a negative person around you. Because I know if it happens, if he's always ignoring you, there might be a deeper reason. It can't just be like, you pissed him off, unless you do it every other day. So, and I don't see that happening. And just like I mentioned, most chances are it has nothing to do with you. So if it's all him, you might need to rethink the whole situation, the whole relationship, because that's just not normal, right? Every other day, or if it's become too frequent and if things have changed recently, if he wasn't like that, then he's obviously pointing to a bigger reason why this is happening. He's probably just not willing to speak about it. And there are a few exceptions, right? Things do happen once in a while, but if he's been doing it for a while, no, that's not cool. Cheating, it might even be cheating. That might be a reason why he's just ignoring you. Maybe he's not as interested as he was before. I'm just saying, although we can talk about that later, but that might be part of the reason why he's acting so weird, right? Unless he's sick and he doesn't want to talk about it, or maybe he lost his job, something like that, something that makes him not want to express himself, or that's why he's avoiding you, because he knows if you guys have been together for a while, he knows you might figure out the problem. And maybe in the meantime, he's trying to act all normal without giving up what he's up to or what's happened. But I know no one deserves that kind of treatment, and hopefully it doesn't go for that long. It doesn't go for days or weeks. Moving on. Does he hold grudges? Or is he like holding on to something you might have done in the past or something you might have said? But the saying part is not that big of an issue. Maybe if he holds grudges, maybe he's holding on to something you did. And if that's the case, it might be that when it resurfaces or when he feels it, because he never let it go. So he'll just get upset and probably go quiet. Why? Because he's revisiting the situation. He never let it slide. You might have moved on, but he probably didn't. Which means he never, basically at the most basic level, he never forgave you. Although he might have said he did, he obviously didn't. Remember, we are talking about somebody who holds grudges, or somebody who's been holding on to a grudge. Yeah, he just didn't let it go. if he's not willing to forgive you about whatever that thing was, like clean heart, clean slate, and all that, it just means that thing, whatever it was, it's still standing between you and him, and it will probably always be there. Because he's not forgiven you yet, he's not forgotten about it, so who knows when he might let it go. So you can choose to move ahead with it, right? But remember, chances are it will always rear its ugly head. Once in a while, you'll have to face that. Yeah, and if he never gets over it, or if he doesn't just put a halt to the whole thing, who knows how long it might take? Who knows how long he might keep bringing it up? Yeah, yeah. And I'm not a big fan of advising couples or people to end a relationship, but there's something usually that both of you can work on, right? You can work on anything. You can solve anything, any problem, any situation, with a few exceptions. Number one, cheating. That just kind of does it for most guys. If it involved that, maybe he will not let it go. If maybe you had cheated before and he said he's okay with it and you guys moved on, it might be that he's still holding on to that, and he holds you, like he still holds it against you. You see? So if he wants, like, maybe he's looking for a way to end the relationship, like a breakup, and he's probably decided nothing can change his mind. If it resurfaced and he just can't get rid of it, or maybe he's just mentally, he's destroyed by it. And as much as he tries and wants to move on from it, he just can't. He hoped he would, but the thing is, it will always be there. It will always be around there. Like I mentioned, like a dark cloud. So, and there's little or nothing you can do about that, especially if it has to do with what I just mentioned, cheating. Unless you can completely prove to him that it was a huge mistake or that will never happen. If he has a reason to believe you weren't that sincere and that it just happened and it might happen or it happened again, man, you can understand why he still holds a grudge. It makes a lot of sense. So with that one, it's probably that if he's ignoring you because of that, there's not much you can do about it. Because you know where it's coming from, and you know he might not forget about it or let it go or just drop it. Probably not going to happen. Moving on. Why am I ignored by my boyfriend? That's the question. And a different answer from the one we've just mentioned. Is he doing it because you did something wrong? We might have mentioned that before. Like, if you kind of know that you did something that he did not appreciate, just apologize. It's that simple. It softens the heart. Then do something he likes, like make him his favorite food or do something he loves. Not sex. I'm not talking about sex. Sex is not always the solution. No, it might happen a little bit later, but at that instance, he might not be feeling up to it. I know you're wondering, what is he talking about? Is there a time that men are just not feeling up to it? Yeah. There are times when sex is not something we even want to think about. Food, though, my favorite food might just make it. If you just have it the way I like it, yeah, that might help me heal up a little bit faster, and I'll be good to go in no time. Yeah, so just do something nice for him. He knows you feel bad about it, about whatever you did, whether you meant it or not. What matters is that he realizes you feel bad about it, like you're apologetic. And best thing is like roses and flowers, your relationship gets to move ahead stronger with a better understanding about each other. So go for it. If you know you misstepped, just apologize and move on. There's no point in like saying I didn't do it, or if you know you did it, straight out just lay it on the table. Same thing, he should also, like when he knows he's in the wrong, he should do the same thing. Moving on. No one likes the cold shoulder, but there's one huge advantage. With guys, we tend to be quite direct, right? When we when we really need to, we'll just shoot, we'll just say whatever's going through our mind. Not always, but when we need to. So that's one good thing about it. When you realize the cold shoulder, that he's ignoring you, number one, there's probably something going on. It might not have anything to do with you, but it still might. And good thing is, if you try and talk to him about it, if it's really something to do with you, he'll obviously speak out. So if you ask, of course, after giving him some time off, some time to himself, once you ask, he'll gladly blurt it out. After he realizes you took some time, like you let him cool off and all that, he'll talk about it. He'll say it, and whatever you did, and from that point, he'll be willing to work towards a solution. Because why? Number one, you gave him some time to chill, to relax. You respected how he was feeling, and you gave him some time. Number two, you approached it in a positive manner, not with anger or accusations or complaining and whining. No, you approached it in a nice way. So he's more than willing to talk it out. If I'm in the wrong, point it out. If I'm the one who messed up, don't take the blame. Obviously not. And if you were in the wrong, admit it as well. Yeah, it helps when at least one party cools off. Not a shouting match, obviously, and just don't raise your voice while addressing it. You'll just risk escalating the situation. So deal with it in a super mature way, like adults. Talking, not shouting. It is like especially best if you can just keep your composure. That brings him down like to that level, because it's not confrontational. He can tell this is not a fight. Like, she's cool, she's relaxed, so I need to settle down as well. Mirroring, like when you hear about what I'm talking about, mirroring, it's like a mirror. If I approach you and you're kind of up there, I can tell the tension and the violence, I might mirror the same reaction and do the same thing, which takes us nowhere. So remember, just keep cool and relaxed. Just handle it in the best way you can, like a lady. So use words like, don't just go using confrontational language, so to put it. Just use words like, or phrases like, I didn't know you feel that way. Or you can say something like, I didn't know it made you feel that way. Those two are pretty awesome, right? Think about those two. You can always try and use them in most situations. Again, 1, 2 phrases. Number one, I didn't know you feel that way. I didn't know you feel that way. That's the first one. Or you can say, I didn't know it made you feel that way. Got that? Both of them have feel. You're tapping into how he's feeling and the fact that you never meant to hurt or to make him feel that way. Number 3, you can also try and say something like, I'm sorry it's been hard for you. Point is not to go to the blame game. That's what we're trying to avoid here. You are trying to avoid the blame game. Because at this point, you don't want to go like throwing it back and forth. Let me repeat the words. I didn't know you feel that way. Number 2, I didn't know it made you feel that way. And number 3, I'm sorry it's been hard for you. The third one is especially awesome if he was going through something tough. Because you're approaching that situation and the fact that, I'm so sorry you had to go that by yourself. I'm still glad that you thought and you tried to protect me and hope and try to solve it by yourself. Obviously, because that's what he was trying. But also you're showing him that it's better for both of you to handle it together, and that he might need to trust you a little bit more. All right, so also ask him, what can I do to make it better or to make you feel better? That's pretty awesome. Like, what can I do to make you feel better? This will really help to move in the right direction. Remember, the point is trying to find out what's plaguing him, alleviating the situation rather than trying to make it worse. You're there to help in the healing process, not making it worse. All right. Remember, the question is, why am I being ignored by my boyfriend or by my better half? Awesome question. So, it's sad to say this, but just maybe, like I mentioned before, and then I mentioned we do it right now, we do it later. Later is now. This is later. So, maybe he just wants to break up. Yeah. Or maybe he doesn't value you enough to let you know what's going on. If he did, he'd do better. If he really valued you, he'd do better than that. And he'd rather talk to you about whatever it is that's getting him angry or whatever's getting him upset. But you see, in this case, he's choosing not to trust you enough to talk to you about whatever's going on. Why is that? What could have led to that? Did he have a reason to not trust you enough, or is he naturally untrustworthy? Right? Or maybe he's the kind of person who just likes dealing with stuff by himself, in which case he needs to learn how to let you in. Slowly, you can always let him know we are in this together. So, at the end of the day, I'm the best person to talk to. So it requires you to build trust in him. And for most long-term couples, guys who've been doing it for a while, it's natural. Guys just get used to it, to trusting somebody. In that case, it happens to be you. But somebody who's in love with you, or somebody who loves you, will still be open to talk to you. It might not be at that exact moment when he's dealing with something. It might take a little longer, maybe a couple of hours, maybe a day or two. But even though it takes that time to feel better and be able to communicate, he'll still want to talk to you, to just feel like to lighten the load. So, but if he's just disinterested, this might signal something deeper, like he wants you out, like wants to end the relationship, but he's just afraid of the guilt he'll feel after doing it. He's probably just afraid of letting you know that he wants a breakup. Yeah. And so he doesn't want to deal with the guilt of breaking up, and he doesn't know how to handle it. So just maybe try calling him out. Ask him whether he's done with you. Like, is it over? Do you just want to end the relationship? Is that it? That's the point you might need to just call him out. If that was not the case, he will obviously catch him by surprise, and he'll be like, whoa, what are you talking about? It has nothing to do with that. I was just doing that. It's something personal. And then you'll be like, what do you mean personal? We're a team here, and all that. So, but if that's what he was aiming for, you'll have saved both of you a lot of time and a lot of heartache, right? Yeah, because you'll be like, if that's the case, no problem. So it's better to find out rather than spend a lot of time holding on to something or somebody, or holding onto a relationship that he's done with already. You're better off finding out as well, because if he's already made up his mind, but he just doesn't have the guts to let you know, you need to know as well. So if it takes you calling him out and asking or popping the question, just go right ahead and do it. You're better off knowing you deserve it. At the very least, you deserve that. You're awesome. You deserve that. So, moving on to probably what might be the last point. Why am I being ignored by my boyfriend? He's cheating. He's cheated. Or he's in the process of doing it. Or he already did. Can I say that again? Question is, why am I being ignored by my boyfriend? So 4 answers. He might be cheating, or he's cheating already. He cheated before, or he not such a long time ago, or he's in the process of cheating. And in that case, he probably moved on already. He's not really there. You know what they say? It's not where the legs are, or where the legs just represent the body. It's not where the body is. Actually, no, the legs are just the legs. They don't represent the body, because the heart is part of the body. So let me put that again. Let me put it better. Let me rephrase it. It's not where the legs are. It's where the heart is. So he might be there, but his heart is somewhere else. Or where he thinks his heart is, it might be with somebody else. So if he's ignoring your calls, texts, and all other forms of communication, like social media, or he's been doing it for a long while, he might probably have got himself into a new relationship. And he just hopes that you get the message. He doesn't want to tell you directly. He's avoiding that. So he just hopes, like, I hope she just gets the point. But he doesn't have the guts to let you know. Or maybe he's still hoping that something else can happen. Or maybe in most cases, in this case, he's just not necessarily interested. He's really trying his best to move on. So most of us, or some of us, might not just say it out, like we are over, or we are over this, or the relationship is over, or I'm with somebody else. No, some men just move on. And this might be his way of telling you he's with another person. Obviously, you don't deserve it, but it happens. So I'd urge you, if that's the case, to just move on. Again, time usually tells, but you can't just sit around waiting for him. I mean, if he's been doing this for like days on and on, weeks, completely ignoring everything, text, calls, and all that, man, that raises a lot of questions. Like, are you even alive? Are you alright? What's going on? So, I wouldn't like encourage you to just end the relationship, but you need to think about your future too. Like, if this is what he's doing, and if he's been trying to send you a silent message that it's over, it might be time to move on. Remember before I mentioned, ask him, question him. Is this what it is? If that's the case, good, great, no problem. It might not feel great the first few days or the first few weeks or the first few months, no matter how long it takes, but you'll be doing the right thing for yourself. You need to move on. If that's what is decided, you did your best, you put in the effort, you put in the time, you put in the body, you put in your mind, you put in your heart. Hands off. You did your best. So it has nothing to do with you. You move on. Somebody else is out there waiting for a person that awesome. I mean, nobody deserves that. So you just move on. Putting your life at a standstill for anybody? No. I wouldn't advise you on that. So pick up yourself and move on. There's a better guy out there waiting for you. You tried. It wasn't this one. No sweat. Move on. Yeah, I know it's better. It's easier said than done, but it's better done. And you better think about it right now and just move on. And with that, I hope I've covered the topic as much as you needed to. But I've done it. Yeah, I've covered just about all the different aspects that pertain to how we take it, how we're thinking, the thought process, and how you should react to it, how you should approach it in different ways and from different angles. And with that, I'm going to call it a night, or I'm going to call it a day. Hopefully, you're having fun. And if you're not, you better start having fun right now. I'm going to catch you later. Bye-bye.